What up, Raffleitos? Welcome back to Raffle Nation. Today, I want to continue with a vlog that I had started a couple of weeks ago on the banks. So, I got some follow-up questions on banking, and I thought I would address them in this video. Today, we're going to talk about credit, the lending aspect of banking in Guyana. That covers mortgages, that covers credit cards and loans, and that covers car loans. So, stay tuned.
Oh, this is my day. I'm ready to take it on, come what may.
So last week I went back to the banks. I paid a visit to these banks, most of the major banks, so that I can get some information for this video. And I got some footage of Citizens Bank and Demerara Bank and Republic Bank and GBTI, which I will show here while I recount the loans, the information about the loans. So in general, in summary, all the banks tend to operate within the same range of interest rates, so that generally you get probably 1 to 2% on your savings accounts, but for car loans you tend to get somewhere between 8 and 12%. They require 8 and 12% interest on car loans, and they require about 15 to 18% on consumer loans. They require about 6% to 8% on mortgages, and other credit cards and consumer loans tend to be above 18%. That is business loans, small business loans, they tend to be around 18%. But I will display this information on the graph and show you them individually as I go through them one by one. So let's continue. Okay guys, let me make this disclaimer to start with. I don't have any loans or mortgages with any of the banks in Guyana, and so this is not an endorsement of any particular bank. And secondly, if you look at these buildings, the banks have some of the biggest, most expensive buildings in Guyana, which means that banking is really good business in Guyana. But let's start with Citizens Bank. They have mortgages at 11%, car loans at 12%, and consumer or business loans between 8 and 18%, depending on the duration of the loan, the collateral that you have to offer, and the magnitude, the size of the loan. And next, let's go across the street from Citizens Bank and talk with Demerara Bank. They have mortgages between 8 and 12% for 25 years. Their car loans are 13.75%, and their business loans are between 9 and 12%, depending on the amount you borrow and the collateral you use, and of course the duration of the loan. So next I went up the street to Republic Bank, and they told me that their business loans are 16.25%. They have a different loan structure for residential loans. So if you wanted to borrow money for a mortgage to buy a house, a residential building, their interest rate is 12%. And if you wanted to borrow money for a commercial building, their interest is 16%. Their car loans are 16% and 12%. 16% for business car loans, so if you wanted to buy a commercial vehicle, it's 16%. And if you wanted to buy a personal vehicle, a car loan would be 12%. And then I went across the street back up to GBTI, the Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry. And they also had a different set of structures, a different loan structure. So their car loans are 6 and 8%, depending on whether you want a personal vehicle or a commercial vehicle, 6% for a personal vehicle, 8% is the interest you would pay on a loan for a commercial vehicle. The mortgages were 4% for loans up to $3 million, 6.9% for mortgages between $4 and $8 million, 9% for mortgages up to $10 million, that is between $8 and $10 million, and a 9.5% interest on mortgages between $10 and $20 million. And above $20 million, the interest rate was 10.5%. So they have a real stratified mortgage schedule at GBTI, and their business loans were 14% for 5 years. And lastly, let's talk about the requirements for borrowing money from these banks. So all the banks have a very lengthy list of requirements. So I'm just going to pick one of these banks, and that is the list of requirements for Republic Bank, because they're about the same. So these are the things you need. You need 9 different items to present to the bank. The first is you need a job letter and 2 recent pay slips. Must be employed for at least 3 years. 2, you need income statements for self-employed persons for the last 12 months. 3, you need business registration for self-employed persons. 4, you need 2 forms of identification, ID cards and license, a valid driver's license or passport. 5, you need proof of address and a TIN certificate where applicable. The TIN is the tax identification number which you get from the Guyana Revenue Authority. 6, you need a statement of outstanding loans, credit union facilities, hire purchases and mortgages, etc. 7, you need bank book statements of accounts held at other banks, if any. That is 8, a photograph of the property. And 9, you need an assignment of life and fire insurance once approved. In fact, once you get the approval, you will need fire and life insurance. So those are the list of items you would need. So there you have it, folks. That is what's happening in banking in Guyana. That is how interest rates are charged by the various banks. I hope this information has been helpful for you. And if you want to see more information like this, click like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you find interesting about this information, how it compares to banking in your neck of the woods, and share this video with friends and family around the world. Let them know what is happening in Guyana. And remember, you can support this channel on Patreon and on PayPal, and now you can also buy merchandise online. I will be creating new merchandise as we go along to commemorate various aspects of life in Guyana. This month is the month of Carnival, so coming up later on this month, we're going to show you all of the revelry and the fun that's happening in Guyana for Carnival 2019. So stay tuned and later!